Hey guys, Misery here, back with another CZN video. And in today's video, we just got news from the official Twitter on CZN of what our next unit is going to be. All they gave us was the silhouette of the upcoming unit, but I think with just that, we can confirm who our next unit is. So shown up on the screen right now is going to be two pictures. The right one is going to be the one that just released a few hours ago, and the left one is going to be from the CN promotion of CZN. The left one we've had for about a week or two now, I'm pretty sure. It got shown some time ago, and everyone was thinking that this was going to be our next limited or half anniversary unit, which is probably going to be either one of those. I do not think that this unit is going to be just a regular season 3 unit, just because she's in a bikini. Gacha players go crazy for bikini characters, and it would just make sense that she's a limited. You know, they really want to sell her, so why not put her in a bikini and, you know, make her look more appetizing and attractive. But yeah, shown up on the screen right now will be the two pictures, but below them there's going to be pictures cropped from the pictures. So below the pictures we can see that the hair is very similar. They both have that strand of hair, you know, like sticking out. You know, I think that's one indicator that this unit is basically the silhouette that we just got teased. But if that is not enough proof for you, if you go ahead and look at the side of her head, she has this accessory above her ear, which has the same silhouette and outline in both pictures. So I think that's kind of, you know, confirming that she's gonna be our next unit coming on the 29th. She's a Passion Ranger, so she is the same affinity and class as Veronica. As we know, Rangers, you know, they have good draw power, so really hoping that this unit, you know, offers some sort of draw to the table, because that is what we're really lacking right now. We haven't had a single raid up in the entire game that can, you know, draw a lot of cards, such as someone like Veronica, because Veronica can draw 12 with 4 repos on Divine Draw, and they don't exhaust, so that is really nice. So if this unit is limited and she's a draw type of character, we saw what happened last time with the last limited with Serenial. She was power creeped to the brim. You know, she was just way better than every other character we had at the moment. Not sure if they're going to continue with that. They probably won't, because Serena just got such negative feedback from how power crept she was compared to all the other units. But you know, if they do decide to power creep this unit and she's a drawer, we can expect she's going to be really good and potentially maybe even better than Veronica, replacing Veronica, since they're both Passion Rangers. But yeah, I think it's really interesting that we're getting another Passion. I'm definitely not complaining, because the Passion class has been lacking for some time. We just got our first Passion, which was Diana, over the last week. So, you know, I'm glad they're adding units to the affinities that are lacking. Before Diana, we got Justice with Rita. I do still think that the Justice class is, you know, lacking a little bit, but who knows? Maybe we'll get another Justice unit in the future soon, because we got Nine and Typhara back to back in season 2 for the first 2 season 2 units. Before that, we had Narja and Serenial back-to-back Instincts, so I think Instinct and Order class are perfectly just fine. You know, it's been a while since we've had a Void raid up, which was Chizuru, so I wouldn't mind a Void or Tenebria being a Void. Speaking of Tenebria, when this picture first dropped, a lot of people were thinking it was Tenebria. But honestly, one of my friends said her boobs were too big to be Tenebria, so that kind of made me laugh. But yeah, I'll also put a picture of Tenebria, and a lot of people are speculating that is Arya next to her. I'm not quite sure, but we for sure know that one of the units in the teaser of the Arise video on the official CZN YouTube is Tenebria. And you know, if you've played Epic 7, you know Tenebria and you know Kayron, you know their relationship. So that's why I'm really hoping that Tenebria is possibly a Void, and you know, maybe synergizes with Kayron, being a support for him, or you know, enabling him to the next level, kind of like Typhara did when she released. But yeah, my guess is that the Bikini Woman is going to be the limited, and then maybe Tenebria is going to be the half anniversary unit, which even if we do have a half anniversary unit, I'm not quite sure what the rules are for half anniversary units. We know limiteds, you know, you can't summon those on the standard banner, and you can't summon them until the banner comes back. But half anniversary units, if we do get one and it's Tenebria, I'm not sure how that's gonna work. You guys can let me know down in the comments below what you guys think of these new units. If you guys are gonna pull for them yourself, I suspect a lot of people are going to pull for this Bikini Woman, since she's probably gonna be the next limited. But yeah, I'm very curious to see if this new unit with the bikini scales off of extra damage. We just got Diana, who is Passion, and scales off of extra damage also. So if you have Veronica built, you just put Veronica's memory fragments on to Diana. I wonder if we can just do the same with that with this new Passion Ranger. And if she does scale off of extra damage, that means she's probably going to be doing a lot of hits, which, you know, Rosaria, great partner for Rangers, especially Passion, like Veronica, because Rosaria gives a ton of morale. And as we know, morale is super valuable for units that do a lot of hits, such as Diana, Luke, Serenial, you know, a lot of those units who are spammy. Like, I don't mind waifu and female characters, but the sad thing that I heard on the dev livestream is that the developers said the male priority is very low, so we're not going to be getting any male characters, not anytime soon, unless we complain enough. The community, that is, if they complain enough, then maybe they'll change it and we'll get a male character soon. If you've seen the leaks, I'm kind of saving for Louise, I think his name is, or Lewis, however you say his name. It's the guy that you see in the very beginning of the game in the tutorial, where he like throws a train or like some kind of like cargo ship. And he has like telekinetic and psionic, you know, abilities and powers just like Kayron, which is why I really like him, because he's very similar to Kayron. Any male character that, you know, is aura farming and has a really cool design that's badass, I really enjoy those designs over these waifu designs that are trying to appeal to a specific audience and make them look more attractive, so you spend money on them. I mean, the game has to make money somehow. I mean, I love this game, you know, I hope it stays in service for a very long time, and I hope it doesn't EOS soon. So if this is how they need to make money, then so be it. I just want some male characters sometime soon. Like, I'm not gonna go quit the game if they don't give us male characters, because like I said, I love this game. I love the game for the combat and, you know, the gameplay. So I'm not gonna quit if we just don't get a specific type of character. I'm gonna keep playing, but you know, it would be nice to have the design of the characters you actually want in the game, so I can actually be hyped for the upcoming units. But yeah, I definitely will be pulling this limited unit, like not just because she's limited, like of course you probably should pull her because she's limited, we don't know when she's going to be coming back, but I'm a content creator. I pull every single new unit to make videos, guides, and showcases on them for all of you guys. My thoughts on the current state of the game: it's kind of sad to see CZN have so many content creators in the beginning, but honestly a lot of them have left throughout the months. There's not really much content creators left besides me and a few others. Maybe, you know, with the release of Tenebria, that will bring some Epic 7 players to CZN. You know, both games are owned by the same company, Smilegate. But yeah, CZN in the very beginning was a really grindy game and takes up a lot of time. It still does, even to this day, after with all the Epiphany changes, you know, farming decks being easier, it still takes up a lot of time for the average person. So I definitely see people with their own lives, you know, having a family, having a job, you know, having to go to work every day, not having enough time for this game, especially with the immense amount of RNG that it requires, you know, to have endgame decks. I definitely see why some people quit the game and content creation for this game. It's to a specific audience, and you know, this game isn't for everyone, but this game is very unique and I've never played another gacha like it, which is like why I like it so much. You know, I think season 2 was very good for the first 2/3 of the season. Once it got, you know, down to that last third when re-released, it wasn't that great. A lot of people were burnt out of the season, not really much to do, especially with Rift. The last Rift that we had in season 2, the Golden Main one, it was very tiring with the phases and mechanics of the boss were really confusing for most people. That's why I had to make a specific video and guide for you guys so you guys could understand it easier. But I've always been into games that, you know, are really time consuming and grindy. Those type of games just always have been, you know, my cup of tea. So that's why I love CZN so much. You know, season 1 I enjoyed with Lab Zero. Lab Zero was amazing for grinding supports because the gear was just so good. Not to mention the dimensional tunnel we had in the first floor, allowing us to get divines so much easier. I definitely miss that tunnel because, you know, in the Zero System worlds we have right now, you can't get a divine encounter in the first floor. And season 2, there was only one divine encounter on floor 1, and it was a rare event. It was hard to get. It wasn't guaranteed every single run like the dimensional tunnel was. So although season 2 made, you know, farming decks easier, it definitely was more annoying for specifically divine farming itself, and you know, most endgame decks revolve around divines. But yeah, I think season 2 was great for the first 2/3. Also, you know, I really loved the chaos they had. The refinements they had were a really good implementation. The God's Hammer was questionable. I know a lot of people were complaining about another thing of RNG, and you know, hitting a bad God's Hammer on a good deck felt really bad. But season 2 chaos was just so nice compared to what we have to farm now in preseason before season 3. Farming Zero System feels so bad, not only just because there's no divine event on floor 1, but honestly, I've missed the copy encounter in floor 2 in Zero System worlds so much. Like, so many people praise Zero System for having a higher copy chance encounter, but honestly, from my experience, I've just like whiffed like the copy encounter like you know, 6 times out of like 10 runs. Maybe I'm just really unlucky. But yeah, definitely at the moment, it does not feel good to grind decks in preseason. Really waiting for season 3 to release and hoping that the seasonal chaos there is really good. One thing I really do like that they did to Zero System though is that they sell equipment of that specific world in the shop now. So Swamp of Judgment is best in slot for like every single DPS because you can get the 12% crit damage dagger in the shop along with the 6% crit chance chest piece. They only cost 200. It's a 140 on discount. But yeah, those equipments are really powerful for every DPS. In one of the latest patch notes, they did say that they were going to make decks less restrictive, but I'm honestly not going to hold their word for it. We don't know what that specifically means, or, you know, it's not confirmed. So even though they said they're going to make it less restrictive, I'm still going to farm season 3 data just in case that they have something up their sleeve where, you know, some content is less restrictive and you can use old decks, but some season 3 content you can't. So I don't know, maybe they might do that where they do a half and half where some season 3 content requires old decks and the other season 3 content requires season 3 data. Not really sure. So yeah, that's why I'm farming season 3 data at the moment. But once season 3 releases and we actually know for sure, maybe we can go back to Lab 0 and farm for that really good support gear or even Eternal Hunger for Nia. Eternal Hunger is absolutely insane for Nia decks because you just keep discarding the Eternal Hunger that has Attunement, and Attunement, you know, you get the effects once you draw it. So if you keep discarding it and you keep drawing it, you basically get like so much AP. I've seen like people get 30 AP in one turn off of Eternal Hunger Nia. But yeah, we're just gonna have to wait and see. That's kind of like my current thoughts on the state of the game. Me personally, I'm enjoying it. You know, I have a lot of passion for this game. I really enjoy it. The average person or, you know, a regular person may not feel the same as me just because I like grindy games and, you know, I really have a lot of love for this game. Also, not only will I be pulling this Bikini Girl, I will be pulling Tenebria. So, you know, be on the lookout for that when she releases. And, you know, if you want to stay up to date, subscribe to the channel following my latest posts so you don't miss a video. I'd very much appreciate that. We are super close to 3K subscribers. I've been trying to push it for the last month or so. I definitely think we can hit it this month. You guys have been showing a good amount of support on my latest videos, which I appreciate every one of you who, you know, like, comment, subscribes, you know, just watch my videos. It all means a ton to me and I very much appreciate it. But yeah, I think that's going to be the video. I hope this video, you know, was kind of like informative and helpful to you of what the next unit is. You know, if it was, very much appreciate if you could support the channel. Anyways, I hope you guys take care, peace, and be safe. Until the next one.